Through the Public Works Administration, the federal government has carried the fight directly to the slum. Today, families taken from substandard housing are living happy, healthful lives in our first public housing project. 10 years ago, public erection of 51 big, carefully planned community projects, replacing festering slum areas, would have seemed incredible. Yet we are doing this, and it is substantial evidence that the long fight against the slum finally is bearing fruit. If indeed the deeper purpose of democratic government is to assist as many of its citizens as possible, especially those who need it most, then we have a great opportunity lying ahead in this specific field of housing.
Could you tell me a little bit about Poindexter Village?
Okay, all right. Well, I grew up on 1457 Hawthorne. Few houses down from Poindexter Village. We used to walk through there going to Champion every day. It was a peaceful place. It was a place where you can go. We used to play football, and we just had a great time. Even though it was a housing project, you didn't know it was a housing project.
Now, you said they were, how did we know we were poor?
Yes.
In those days, everybody was poor. It first opened in 41. We went in 43.
And 43, okay. Okay. And how was it to live there? I mean, how?
It was like a city to itself. We were so grateful for Poindexter Village. We knew all the neighbors, and all the neighbors knew us. It was like one big family. You see, we lived in an alley in the South End. The house was nice, but just an alley.
I was born and raised in Poindexter Village.
You were?
Yeah, so.
For how many years did you live there?
Well, practically all my life.
Oh,
until,
okay.
Until I reached the age of reason,
Okay.
More or less.
How was it living over there?
I'll tell you what, when you talk about the village, that's exactly what it was. It was a village. We were what you might say the first village people. And when you look at say an African village, that's just what Poindexter Village was. There was a concentration of black folks in one area, but there was no, like say, what's going on now as far as the crime and all this type of thing. Everybody, you could leave your doors open, and we had a rival thing. As a matter of fact, it was an earlier version of the Crips and the Bloods, more or less, but without all the insanity attached to it. See, Bottle Barnes thought we were too good, and we thought that, and we thought we were better than Bottle Barnes. So we had a little rival thing going with Bottle Barnes, Poindexter and Bottle Barnes. We have our little what you call fights and all this other stuff. But like I say, it didn't resort to anybody laying out on a stretcher or anything like that. See, so.
And it was wonderful for us because we didn't have that fear. Here we are old, and now we have that fear. It's too bad for the young kids.
10 in our family, I don't think none of them really kind of very bad.
No, they really
don't. Think what, Jay? Out of 10,
none of them turned out bad.
No, I know they did not.
Nobody in jail, nobody or anything like that. And there were 10 kids.
No police records,
none of them.
And started on nothing. I mean,
So you didn't have any subsidized? You didn't not subsidize nothing?
No, you didn't have nothing.
Okay, and what about you?
I'd say the main thing, if you get a good education, they'll learn doing that education not to do the things that they're doing.
Yeah, okay. A good education.
That's the main thing.
What would be a good education?
Stay in school.
Stay in school.
Just go to school.
You can't learn nothing standing up on the corner.
With your pants down below your behind and all that kind of stuff. You gotta go and stay in school. Get that education.
Get the education. Okay.
I told all three of mine, the three girls, they was going to stay in school if I had to sit on the school steps. I told them when they graduated, they had 30 days to sit around and do nothing. After 30 days, I worked, mother worked. I had a big black German Shepherd, weighed 110 pounds. I told him I could find him a job, he'd be working.
You see all those little trees? They aren't there. So, yeah, they are. So we planted all those big trees that are on Champion Avenue on Arbor Day.
You did?
Yeah, all the kids. in
The kids
neighborhood.
planted
The
those
kids
trees.
They bought the trees and we planted them. Yes, we had little gardens between the doors there. So we plant flowers, and we had a bush beside each door. And so we had a little contest on who had the best flowers and all that. Now, also, we decorated our own apartments. They would give us the paint, and that's how I learned how to paint.
Okay, I was in my childhood about the year about 1947 to about 1954. I lived in Poindexter Village, and I remember that no doors was ever locked back then. You could just go from one home to the next home.
People didn't run your way?
Nope. He was always welcome at dinner time. They just tell you to sit down. It was, most of the older adults there, we always had we used to call them Papa Jones or Aunt Martha. Everybody had a title. You know,
they called them Aunt or Papa?
Or something, right. They had a title. So weekends or when payday come, going down to Mount Vernon Avenue to shop. You know, that was... I remember going to the chicken house on Mount Vernon Avenue where they had live chickens, and you know, Mom went in there and she'd pick out a chicken and they'd wring the neck and get rid of the feathers and stuff before you take it home and cook it. I never would eat it, you know. A lot of vegetables and so forth. That's what
fresh vegetables.
Yeah, and greens. You know, down there at the shoe store, and of course, if you wanted to go to a movie, they had a Cameo Theater on one side. And just about anything you need, you could get right there. So that was always the side, you know. You know, on payday, you know, going down Mount Vernon Avenue and getting whatever you need for the club.
Yes.
You go down there and get your pork chop sandwich.
Yes, yes.
About the time I walk halfway home, we turn around when we got another one. Some of the people who lived around Poindexter Village, some of the kids said, man, y'all sure lucky, man, because y'all got this, y'all got that. You know. Nowadays, just weren't there. They probably were there, don't get me wrong now. But since we kind of had our own community, a lot of that stuff didn't really affect
So most
us.
everything was, you felt like...
Yeah, you just go where you want, do what you wanted to do. You know. So as far as right there in that little block or that little area there, you know, you feel real comfortable.
When I moved in here, my son was 9 months and my daughter was 2 years old. And an old friend of mine who went to school with me, Mary Jane Day, who lives in back of me now, we used to take care of each other's children when we had to go someplace, and Lucille Bell lived next door to me. If we saw them out saying the wrong words, or if they were further down the street than they were supposed to be, or if they were with the wrong crowd, you talk to them, and if they talk smart, you just knock them out. The wrong crowd was children whose parents didn't chastise them. It was a family thing. If one didn't have enough food, we'd cook for everybody. Everybody would just pitch in the food and we'd have dinner. So one cooked one thing, the other one cooked another. Say, if I had a chicken, I'd cook the chicken, they'd cook the greens. One would cook the greens and the other would make the potato salad. And, you know, there's a lot of kids that would come from other places and come over here in Poindexter and play. Because at the time my children were coming up, we had everything going over there at the rental center. It was like, there was a arts class, there was a class for dramatics, there was a class for sewing, we had wood and craft. As a matter of fact, I learned how to upholster from over there.
From over to the rec center over here?
Yeah, over to Poindexter.
They showed you how to upholster furniture?
I could rip a furniture apart and put it back together.
Oh my goodness!
Yeah.
So that was a skill that you learned from the rec
Poindexter. And well, and before I ever moved in Poindexter, they had a girls basketball team and boys basketball team, and I played on the basketball team.
You played on the basketball? When was that?
That was around about it had to be in 39. Because we used to go over to the west side. Whoa, that was the wrong place.
The west side.
Because they had some roughies over there.
Oh, okay.
And they would beat us every time we went over there to play.
Oh, they would beat you in basketball?
Yeah,
oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah, and they had a baseball team and everything.
My name is Carolyn. It used to be Johnson before I married. Now it's Carolyn Martin.
Carolyn Martin?
Carolyn Guest Martin.
Okay.
And our address was 1227 Metro Place, apartment H. I didn't forget it. You didn't have to worry about locking the windows, locking the doors. Everybody left the windows and doors open. No robbery, no break-ins that I know of. If it happened, it was very far and few between. It was a place where everybody took care of one another. I mean, like, oh, I need a cup of sugar, go down the street and ask me so-and-so, can she let me have a cup of sugar or some milk or whatever. And, of course, there were families that maybe, and I'm not saying what because I was a kid, I just know that they borrowed a lot. But if they didn't have it, everybody pitched in and gave it to them. Nobody called the authorities and said, well, so-and-so didn't feed her kids tonight. The neighbor just got it. That's the way it was. It was a fun neighborhood.
My name is Beverly Smith now. It was Beverly Rodnick Smith now. They moved to Poindexter Village when I was about 9 months old, 6 months old, 9 months old. And so then they came. When I got married the first time, I moved back to Poindexter Village. And my kids were brought up somewhere there till they were like 8 or 9.
The thing that stands out in my mind most was during the summer, we had this Bible study teacher named Miss Armler. She was a white lady,
last night too.
And she came to the center every year. I don't know a lot about her, but I can see her in my mind right now. And she just loved us kids. Just go.
And another thing about growing up in Poindexter, it was like, takes the whole village to raise a child. You didn't do so-and-so and so because you know Miss so-and-so down the street would tell your mom if she saw you do this.
Did they correct you?
And she would correct you. Not only would she correct you, when you got home, your mom got on you. You just did not let them neighbors see you do things you didn't want your mom to know about because it would eventually get back. And not only did it get back, they would tell you, now you know your mom brought you up better than that.
You know you're not supposed to be doing that.
So it was like a village raising other children out there.